Did you know that on average we're interrupted every 8 minutes? Knowing this, how can we reclaim our focus and live with more intentionality? Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Craig Booker. In today's fast paced world, distractions are everywhere. From constant notifications to the pressure of being busy, it's become harder than ever to stay focused on what truly matters. But what if I told you that by mastering your focus, you could transform your life and deepen your relationships? In this episode, we'll discuss the epidemic of distraction. We'll highlight the importance of focus and how it can be used for a catalyst for change. We'll explore strategies for improving your focus. So, whether you're struggling with distraction, trying to improve your focus, or simply want to grow, this episode is for you. Let's talk about distraction. What are common sources of distraction today? If you think about it, as a society, we're more distracted than ever. And maybe it's the phone buzzing in your pocket or that notification that just popped up on your computer screen. It could be the ding of a new email. Or perhaps it's not tech related. It could be a dog barking outside your window, kids playing around nearby, or perhaps the TV is playing in the background. In her book Reset, Deborah Fileta says that on average, we experience an interruption every 8 minutes, or 7 to 8 times per hour. Why do we glorify busyness? If you ask someone how they're doing, there's a good chance they might respond with busy. Deborah Fileta says that what's interesting is that we say it as though it's a badge of honor to be busy, as though being busy means you're more important or valuable or desired or necessary than everyone else around you. But what if it actually means the opposite of all of this? What if it means that we actually experience less of the blessings of life? What if by being busy, we end up being less focused and therefore less productive? All right, let's talk some statistics on distraction. A study mentioned in Deborah Fileta's book Reset said that the average person checks their phone every 12 minutes while they're awake. Can you believe that 71% of people never turn their phones off? Would it surprise you that 40% of people check their phones within 5 minutes of waking up? It's no wonder that we are constantly distracted, right? All right, let's talk about the importance of focus. We've spent a lot of time talking about distraction at this point, but what if focus could be used as the catalyst for change? In her book Reset, Deborah Fileta talks about this idea or this concept of the consequences of more. You see, in our society, in a time when everything is broadcast on social media 24 hours a day, we see all of these things from different people's lives. And it causes us to want more in all areas of our life. We want more. We want to gain more wealth. We want more exposure to entertainment. We want more travel. We want more accomplishments in our career. We want more of everything. And what we have to understand is there are consequences to that idea of more everything. What if instead we could create space for focus and personal growth? How do we create the opportunity for focus is the real practical question. Before we get into that, I want to talk about a story in the Bible that's well known. It's in Luke chapter 10, verse 40, and it's the story of Martha and Mary. It is the perfect illustration of busyness versus presence. You see, Martha was distracted while Mary was focused on what was important that was right in front of her. I'm going to be reading Luke chapter 10, verse 40 from the NLT. It says, "But Martha was distracted by the big dinner she was preparing. She came to Jesus and said, 'Lord, doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me.'" I think all of us, or many of us, can relate to Martha. Martha was doing a great thing. She was trying to cook a wonderful meal for Jesus and people in her home. Hey, sounds important to me, right? But you can sense the tone here of her frustration with Mary. So keep that in mind. We're going to continue on with this story. You see, in our journey, it is very easy for us in our desire to do more for Jesus that we miss spending time with him. Let me say that again. It's easy in our desire to do more for Jesus that we miss spending time with him. Let's pick up in verse 41 and 42 of Luke chapter 10. It says, "But the Lord said to her, 'My dear Martha, you are worried and upset over all these details. There is only one thing worth being concerned about. Mary has discovered it and will not be taken away from her.'" So there's a lot we can glean from this verse. What I want to pick out is that Mary had discovered what was important, and she was focusing on it. Mary had discovered what was important, and it says it will not be taken away from her. In our pursuit of more of everything, we are, in a sense, pursuing nothing. You see, when we find out what really matters, like Mary did, and we focus on it, we create opportunities for focus. Or let's talk about the benefits of increased focus. We've talked about distraction, a lot about distraction, and we talked about using focus as the catalyst for change. So what do we get out of this effort that we're putting in? Well, first off, we're going to improve our productivity and efficiency. We're going to get better at what we do. Second, we're going to enhance relationships and connection. If you think about it, when we're focused and we know the things that we need to spend the time on, we can be better at what we're doing, and that will free up more time for deeper, richer connections with other people. Third, we're going to have greater self-awareness of what's going on with ourselves and how we're growing, and we're going to experience more personal growth. And then fourth, we're going to have reduced stress and anxiety. What's better than that? That's an awesome benefit to increase focus. All right, so we've talked a lot about distraction. We've talked about using focus as the catalyst for change, but we haven't given real practical examples or strategies for mastering focus. So that's what we're going to do here. Keep in mind, this is going to be high-level stuff. I'm not going real deep on this, but hopefully this gives you a starting place. First off, we're going to talk about technology, or you could call it digital detox techniques. So I'm not talking about anything extreme. I'm just talking about practical things that you can do to regularly take breaks from technology. So here, this could be setting boundaries with technology. And setting boundaries is pretty broad. We'll get into more details here. So you could create technology-free zones and times. So this could be at the dinner table, there's no technology. So this could be with your family, or this could be with your significant other. You prioritize that time with them at the dinner table. Maybe you say that, at a certain time every evening, you're going to stop using devices so that you limit your blue light exposure. These are all healthy things that you can do. So next category is mindfulness practices. And we've talked about breathing exercises and mindful meditation with breathing. So this kind of overlaps a little bit, but I would start by looking for simple, like mindfulness meditation exercises that you can start with. Maybe practicing presence in daily activities. And a part of this overlaps with that technology-free zones, that you're deciding to be present at the dinner table. That's a specific time of day and place. And so that's just an example where that kind of overlaps. Third category is prioritization and time management. Now, I don't really like these terms, but this is what a lot of people think of when they think of like focus or productivity. I really like the idea, and I've said it somewhere else, and I think I got it from Deborah Fileta, where we don't manage our time. You can't manage time. You manage your energy, you manage your resources. but you don't manage time. So before we get into like actual techniques here, it's really important that as an individual, as a believer and a follower of Jesus, that you know why you're put on here on this earth. Because if you don't know that, you're going to spend a lot of time chasing a lot of unimportant things. So I would highly recommend going through a program or a book like Kazone by Craig Rochelle, because this will help you really spend the time asking the right questions to help you discover what God's vision is for your life. It will help you discover your strengths, your talents, your different experiences that contribute to who you are and who God is creating you to be. So I would invest time there in a program like Kazone. This is going to help you really clarify what you're here to do. And this will, in turn, help you identify truly important tasks. And then you'll be able to implement techniques like time blocking. And then the fourth category is creating a distraction-free environment. The longer that I live, the more I believe that your environment matters. So picking up clutter, having regular routines where you're decluttering your environment is really important. And then establish routines that support your focus. So our bodies, with time and place, it's like automatic triggers. So if you set up a time that every Tuesday at a certain time, you're going to spend time journaling, it will open up things in your brain where you're able to focus and spend that time trying to accomplish what you're trying to do in your journaling. Or if you're trying to, write a book, you set up a time maybe twice a week where during that time, all you're doing is writing. So hopefully these are some good high-level ideas to get you started, but I understand that they're not really deep in the step 1, 2, 3, 4, but hopefully it's a good place for you to start. Okay, it's that time again. It's my favorite segment of the podcast. It's called Take Action. This week we are doing an exercise that's titled Stay Focused. It's by Deborah Fileta. It's in her book Reset. And we're going to go through each of these questions. And I encourage you to listen through it the first time. And then after you've listened through it, grab your phone and open up your notes app, or grab your journal and a pen and rewind it and go through each of the questions and work through it in your own time when you have time to reflect. All right, let's get started. So number 1, it looks like 3 parts to it. Part A is write down 3 main distractions that come up in your life on a regular basis. Okay, that's part A. Part B, how do those distractions get in the way of your progress? Okay, that's part B. And then C, it says, next to each distraction, write down 1 way you can alleviate, minimize, or avoid the distraction. All right, that's 1. Number 2, this is a quote, when we do more, we feel less. Take a look at your life's pace and schedule and ask yourself if you're making space for healing. So that would be part A of number 2. Part B would say, if so, what does that look like? And then part C would be, if not, what can you do to begin making space? All right, let's move on to number 3. Rewrite the one thing you had in mind to grow, change, or heal at the beginning of this book. So at the beginning of Reset, she talked about writing something down. So that's what she's visiting here. So it says, rewrite the one thing you had in mind to grow, change, or heal at the beginning of this book. And then part B of this, the third question is, how have you stayed focused on that portion of your life? And then part C of number 3 is, how have you gotten distracted from that goal? All right, moving on to number 4. Take some time to be deliberately present today. Put aside distractions and tune in to what's going on inside of you. Savor the details of what's happening in the here and now with the people you love and the God that you love. Tune in to the sights, sounds, smells, and experiences, and capture the details of your life right here and now, and look for God in it. So, what I hope that you'll do is that you've listened through each of these questions, and now what I want you to do is hit pause and rewind it and go through each of these with your notes app, or go through them with a journal and a pen. All right, let's dig in. Verse for reflection. This week we're in Luke chapter 10, verse 40 of the NLT. But Martha was distracted by the big dinner she was preparing. She came to Jesus and said, "Lord, doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me." All right, let's review what we've learned. In this episode, we discussed this epidemic of distraction. We highlighted the importance of focus and how focus could be used as a catalyst for change. We explored some strategies for improving our focus. Keep in mind that change happens best when we take small steps over time. No matter your past experiences, it's possible to develop routines and strategies to help you improve your focus. Remember, stay focused. Keep experimenting to find out what works best for you, and watch your life change as your small decisions to focus add up. If you'd like to dive in more to the idea or the topic of breathing and mindfulness meditation, I'll put a link here in the video to another episode where I discuss just that.